about this. It was a great call, man. That's all I really wanted to say to you, man. My wife, I'm looking at my wife and my daughter right now.
Listen, Antoine, you go say hello to your family and have a great night.
Hey, baby, say hey to Paul Feinbaum.
Hey.
Hey, welcome home.
Thank you.
You want to say hey to Paul Feinbaum, baby? My daughter, say hi.
Hi.
Okay. A homecoming at last on the Feinbaum show. Hey, you have a great night, Antoine. That's fantastic.
Yes,
welcome home here on a Tuesday.
Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin. John, what are you doing? Get in my car. So why are you walking to work? Thanks, man. It's these insanely high gas prices. They're draining my bank account. I can't afford to drive anymore. Dude, don't walk. Just do what I do because I never pay full price for gas anymore. I use the free Upside app that pays you cash back for every gallon of gas you buy. Oh, wait. You're telling me you get paid cash when you buy gas with the Upside app? Yes, I get real cash back every time I buy gas. Does that actually add up to anything? I'll make around $200. Wow, that's serious extra cash. I'm downloading the free Upside app now.
Download the free Upside app now to earn real cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code PAID for an extra 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. That's promo code PAID. You can cash out anytime right to your bank account, to PayPal, or an e-gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code PAID for a 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code PAID.
This is Paul Feinbaum. That'll do it for me today. Coming up next, The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
From opening night to Super Bowl 59 in New Orleans, don't miss a second of the NFL this season. Hi, this is Kurt Warner of Westwood One. Join our crew each week for the best in primetime NFL action. Monday night, Sunday night, and Thursday night football, plus marquee games on Thanksgiving, Black Friday, Christmas, and more. Westwood One is the exclusive radio home for every primetime and postseason game. It's right here.
Right here on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Hi, this is Wes Neighbors. I'm here with Sam Fleming with Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Sam, tell the folks about Fleming Roofing and Restoration.
Hey, Wes. Our company, Fleming Roofing and Restoration, specializes in commercial and residential roofing and repairs. I'm a fifth-generation Huntsvillian, and our family's been doing construction business in Huntsville area since 1965.
Sam, what kind of roofs does Fleming Roofing and Restoration do?
Our guys are skilled enough. We can come out and address any kind of leaks or issues you might have on your commercial, on your metal roofing, on your shingles. We can do anything, and we can offer you a solution to repair it, or we can replace it.
You guys also do insurance restoration.
Our staff has 10 plus years of experience as insurance adjusters, and we really do know the inside and out of the claims process at Fleming Roofing and Restoration.
Check out Fleming Roofing and Restoration online at FlemingHSV.com, or you can call or text them at 256-651-9440.
Hey, Wes, we show up.
You don't have to go somewhere else just so you can go somewhere new. Plan your next vacation with Huntsville International Airport and Breeze Airways. Enjoy friendly, convenient, nonstop travel to some of the most exciting destinations in the U.S., including the home of 12 world-famous theme parks, Orlando, Florida. With flights starting as low as just $49, Breeze has got you covered with easy, breezy, nonstop flights to Orlando. Make all their dreams come true. Book nonstop to Orlando now at flybreeze.com.
If hunting and outdoor recreation are your passions, it all starts with the right property. That's where I come in. I am Bo Butler with Southland Realty and Auction, a hunting and recreational land specialist and a Jackson County native who sees land through a hunter's eyes. Just as you trust your guide on a big game hunt, you can trust me to find the perfect property for you. Thinking of selling? Let me help you make your land attract buyers. Remember, Bo knows land. Call me at 256-609-0512.
Hey folks, Bobby White back again for Woody Anderson Ford. If you're in the market for a new ride, now is the time to make your move. We've got over 700 new Fords to choose from, and with over 2,700 Google reviews, our customers have spoken, giving us a pretty impressive 4.4 out of 5 stars. Believe me, we work hard every day to earn those 5 stars. Just tell us what you need. This month only, we're offering big savings on your favorite Ford models. You can save up to $10,000 off MSRP on a 2024 F-150 Super Crew pickup. or take $9,500 off MSRP on a 2024 Edge all-wheel drive. And if you're looking for something even bigger, take a spin in our 2024 family-size Expedition, available for $11,000 off MSRP. Deals end November 30th. And with always, it's with your good credit. Stop by Woody Anderson Ford today or visit us online at WoodyAndersonFord.com. With deals this good, you don't want to wait. I'm Bobby White, and we hope to see you soon.
WZZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. This hour is brought to you by Woody Anderson Ford, Alabama's F-150 Superstore. Welcome to The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline, 256-576-4977.
That's how I roll. And I'm not going to drink and drive anymore.
That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Wes and Steve.
And a very pleasant, good election day to you out there. If you have not voted, I hope it's been a little less painful than my voting experience. 45 minutes, and I earned my sticker today. So hope everyone voted out there. Wes, I know you absenteed. How are you today?
Doing good, Steve. Doing real good.
Well, we've also got the early returns coming in for the college football playoff, as that first reveal of the top 25 is coming up 1 hour from right now. We'll talk with Bill Bender coming up momentarily. But what are you looking forward to seeing out of this first poll, Wes?
You know, to me, it really doesn't matter, Steve. I mean, it does and it doesn't. I mean, I don't. To me, I guess it's going to be interesting to see some of the teams you weren't expecting and where they'll be located as far as in the numbers, as far as the top 12.
Yeah.
Where's Indiana going to be?
Boise State.
Yeah, and based on Indiana hasn't beat a team with a 500 record, but it's still they're undefeated. So I'm you know what I'm saying? That's more where I'm interested in how those teams will be placed.
Boise State's strength of schedule is 70, and you said Indiana. Indiana's strength of schedule is 81.
Yeah. Woo. So, if you remember a long time ago, I came up with the 18 playoff.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, you had to be in the top 60. I think it was 55 then, but you had to be in that because there weren't as many Division I teams as there are now.
Yeah.
I think you got to be in the first half of the to get an automatic top 8. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You have to have you have to be playing people. That's what it's going to be interesting to me, where they're going to do with those people.
But basically your first take is what Josh Heupel told the media yesterday.
Playoff rankings at this point don't matter. You don't have control over it. What you have control over is your preparation and how you play. And ultimately that determines where you're at or where you're not at. And for this football team, understanding that we got to continue to grow and get better and control those things that we're in control of. And this team's got to continue to get better. So it will be out on Tuesday night. Man, you remember what the first rankings were last year? I don't either, right? So it doesn't matter. What they remember is where you finish here as November wraps up.
So it's a really good point. I remember the very first poll that came out that had Mississippi State first.
That's
overall.
what I was about to say.
But other than that, he's absolutely
I don't
right.
remember anybody.
Yeah.
One of the polls had Ole Miss as number 1 when they played LSU at night.
Yeah.
And Logan Stokes from Florence, Alabama, caught his only pass for a touchdown.
Really?
Yeah, while he was at LSU. Yeah. So, and he was Connor's roommate, and I remember that game. But other than that, I couldn't tell you.
Well, on the subject of obscurity, let's see here. This just came down when I was watching PTI at the very end. believe it or not, on this date.
Happy anniversary, LSU. On this day 13 years ago, number 1 LSU defeated number 2 Alabama 9-6 in overtime at Alabama. They had a rematch later that season in the BCS championship, and this time Alabama won 21-0. That started a stretch of 8 straight Alabama victories in their meetings that ended when Joe Burrow and Clyde Edwards-Helaire powered LSU to a 46-41 victory in 2019. Everybody raves about Alabama-Auburn, but Alabama-LSU is almost as big a deal. They play this weekend at LSU. Both teams are ranked, Bama 11, LSU 14, and both are 6-2. So it's likely the loser will be out of the college football playoffs.
Loser's gone. 3 losses. And if it's LSU and they lost early to SC, and I don't mean South Carolina, I mean Southern California, you got to go. And Alabama, that's going to be a big news flash if they're out.
Happy trails to last.
Yeah, well, so I think he's right. And I said last night.
By the way, on this date was that 9-6 game. Unreal to think about.
Yeah, I know it. Yeah, 14 years ago. Is that how long ago?
Yeah, I think that, isn't that what he
Happy anniversary, LSU. On this day 13 years ago.
13 years ago.
13 years ago. Yeah.
Crazy. Yeah.
A lot of NFL talent on that field.
Man,
a lot of NFL talent on that field.
Heck, some of them just now quit playing.
Yeah. That was. I need to go back because at one point I tabulated 52 NFL players that played on that field during those 2 games between Alabama and LSU.
Oh yeah,
years ago.
It was nuts.
Yeah,
great. I mean, and Honey Badger is still playing.
OBJ is celebrating his 32nd birthday today as well. So there's another little obscure fact that's not going to age any of us, right? Anyway, Bill Bender is kind enough to join us from the sporting news right out of the gate. I wanted to get Bill's temperature on what he thinks we're going to see tonight here in about an hour. But nonetheless, it's always fun to talk some college football with Bill Bender. How are you, Bill?
Hey, I'm doing well. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. This is a fun time of year that I feel like I know less about this year, this late in the season, than any other year covering college football. How about for you, Bill?
Yeah, I mean, that's a fair statement. I mean, it was easier when you just had to pick 4. But I do think I have a pretty good idea who the 12 tonight. I mean, the hard part about it is, will it matter? I pointed out earlier today, if you take the Power 4 conferences, include Notre Dame, there are 23 schools with 2 losses or less. So in my opinion, with 4 weeks left in this thing, or 5, if you include conference championships, those are the 23 schools that have a chance for those 11 spots, not counting the group of 5. So it'll be a fun race down the stretch. And if this thing was designed to have more teams involved in November, then mission accomplished.
Well, that's very fair. There's no doubt about that. There's 2 teams I'm intrigued with, and that is Alabama and Notre Dame. Just from the strength of schedule standpoint, I realize one team has 1 loss, the other team has 2, but resume-wise, there's really not a comparison.
No, and well, I take it as far as I want to see where they put Alabama. Will they be 10? Will they be 9? Will they be and what is the variation from the AP poll? There will be. There always is.
Yeah.
So I mean, I wouldn't say no. I think they will be ranked right there with Notre Dame. They might top them. There's an outside chance that they top Indiana, which is going to enrage people because they have the 2 losses. But the committee does a couple things typically. They do favor SEC schools, and I live in Big Ten country. I'm saying that matter of factly. They honor that schedule. They do, and they also do 1 or 2 things that elicit shock value on this first one, and I think that would be the thing that could happen.
I should have probably introed you the correct way on today of all days, that you're in a battleground state there in the state of Ohio and maybe gone from that standpoint. But, well, right there with Ohio State, with everything that they invested in that team, what is it like that what you're hearing from Buckeye fans, albeit, coming off of a W, there against Penn State. But are the fans happy there in the Buckeye State?
They are now because they got that win last week. Had they lost the week before, it was disaster around here, and there's a lot of pressure and a lot of, those kind of things around this team and angst. But, I think that win against Penn State went a long way in easing some of those concerns. They're like everybody else. I would say this, the one difference in this year is I don't know that there's like a dominant team, Most of the years of the 4-team era, the last 10 years, Steve, most of the years I've been talking to you, you and I pretty much knew pretty good shot, one, maybe two, maybe a third team. We knew who was going to win it all.
Yeah.
I have no idea right now.
Yeah.
And there's I can say, make a case for like 6 to 8 teams right now. And I couldn't do that in the past.
So I'm going to say Georgia's on your list, Ohio State, Oregon. That's 3.
Yeah.
Then it starts to get a little muddy for me after those 3.
Yeah. I still think Texas could win it.
Okay, Texas, that's 4.
And if Alabama got in, they would be capable.
That certainly would. Well, we'll see whether or not they can clean up the flag issues. And then the 6th team?
And then I'm going to interest you in Tennessee, Miami, they're about the same to me. You just never know. Tennessee did beat Alabama.
They did.
And Tennessee, they're going to play Georgia. Now, they also did lose on the road at Arkansas. One of the things I've been pointing out to people, though, if you look at our playoff bracket and the 8 teams we have projected to be in the quarterfinals, this is like Penn, Ohio State, all those teams we just talked about.
Mm-hmm.
6 of those 8 teams rank in the top 12 in total defense. I still think defense is a huge part of this equation this year because there are some teams turning it over and there are some teams playing ugly football and there are some teams that just aren't perfect at the quarterback position.
Yeah.
So having that really good defense, that's why I said Tennessee because winning ugly in art form, but they can do that.
Yeah. Yeah, and they figured out a little bit of that offense. Tennessee is a really – and, of course, they've got a big one next weekend at Georgia. But, if you wanted to throw in Ole Miss, another 2-loss team, this is a gotta game again for Ole Miss this weekend against Georgia.
Really is, and this is the signature kind of game for them, right? The signature, can they – actually win one of these big games? Last week it was James Franklin we picked on. This week it'll be Lane Kiffin in terms of can he win this big game. They do have the quarterback that's capable to do it. I think, Steve, at the end of the year they're going to kick themselves because of that Kentucky loss. That's inevitably kind of like South Carolina, how I feel about them right now.
Yeah.
They would be viewed much differently had they just beat LSU. So you've got this mess of 2 and 3 loss teams in the SEC, and I still think, like I was telling somebody today, it's like, man, you bottle up what South Carolina did on Saturday night. You tell me they're not a playoff team, but they have that third loss.
Yeah.
You look at when you look at Ole Miss, both losses in the fourth quarter, they had the team 4th and long from their -19. And both teams got it. They're literally 2 stops away from being undefeated, but they didn't stop them. So, but still, you're talking about looking back, and Kentucky's quarterback made a play against them, and then the quarterback fumbled down inside the 10. The fumble was caught by their tight end. And he scores a touchdown. So sometimes it's just not meant to be.
Bill, who is the Big Ten equivalent of South Carolina? Did we lose you, Bill?
No, I'm here.
Okay.
I'm thinking.
Okay.
I put some thought into your question. That there tells you I listened.
Okay.
To the
Okay.
one.
Okay.
And 2, I would say like Iowa, right? Like Iowa's offense is so bad.
Yeah.
But they play. They're actually scoring a little bit now, and they've got a running back, and they've got.
Bill, there was only one direction to go after last year.
They couldn't do any worse. But we're in Illinois, where like Illinois had a couple moments where. But I think the difference with the SEC and the Big Ten is it really is. There's only 4 teams in the Big Ten that have a chance to make the playoff, and I'm pretty sure that all 4 are going to be in the top 12 tonight. And that's, you mentioned Ohio State, Oregon, Penn State, and then, this Indiana Hoosiers team that was picked 17th in the preseason and has been amazing with Kurt Signetti. I mean, how is he not going to – I was saying this in our meeting today. I said, Kurt Signetti will – if I'm any major program – firing a coach this year, he's the first call.
Even at 62, I mean, is that I wonder if that would give anybody pause right there, just given his age. Although if you can win, you can win.
Heck, Steve, most of these guys fire their coaches within 3 years. He'll only be 65 then.
Right? Yeah, you got it. I mean,
you got
the last 2 years alone, James Madison was 10-0. And now Indiana brought a lot of those James Madison guys with them to Bloomington, but it's hard to describe. I can't if you'd have told me back at Big Ten Media Day, hey, Indiana's going to be a 2-touchdown favorite when they play Michigan, and they'll probably cover. I said, what are you talking about? Why? I'm not going to do your show anymore. And that's what's going on here. It's really interesting what they've been able to do. And part of that is portal QB. Curtis Rourke's been lights out for them. He'll play in the NFL. He won't be a first rounder, but you get a chance. I mean, watch him play. He's really nice.
But Kurt Signetti, Steve, recruited my son to Alabama, recruited Wesley to Alabama.
Didn't know that.
He is the he wins everywhere he goes, and of course he said that. Google him, right?
Yeah.
He has. He has won at every stop, and he's won quickly. And it's just, I think some of it's the relentless offense that they do have. I mean, they run a lot of plays. They run a really good offense, balanced, and the way that they just have disposed of some teams. Again, you can't. I don't think it can be underestimated what they've been able to accomplish in a short amount of time.
You know what he does to me is he puts the right people. He's great at evaluating talent, and he's really good at putting a team together. And that's hard to do. Yeah. And that's why he's been successful, though. Is he just continually
what he did at James Madison was just ridiculous. Especially with the bump up to D1. I mean, everything that entails the bump up to D1 and how quick the success was.
Well, here's the next part of this, though. They haven't beat – it's this week. I mean, they did beat Michigan in 2020, COVID year, and it had been a while there. They haven't beat Ohio State since 1988. That's the one right there. That's the circled game, because as you guys know, I live in the Central Ohio bubble, and not me. I understand what's going on here, but if I go tell my friends, hey, Indiana this or that, they're not real concerned. You know what I mean? Because they're just. But we are also in a year where Vandy did beat Alabama, so I've been telling them, you better be concerned, because if you have that attitude, they will come into the shoe and win, because this is a very good football team on both sides of the ball.
They're capable. They're capable of beating Ohio State.
Yeah.
Now, Ohio State, if they play well, don't turn the ball over, they'll win the game. But if they go in there and turn the ball over like Alabama did at Vanderbilt the first play of the game, throw an interception for a touchdown, it'll be on at that point.
There's no doubt. Yep. Is it bad that I want Vanderbilt and Penn State to play in a bowl game?
The bowl games will still be fun. There definitely going to be some changes there, and some changes in how we do that. Everybody does them, but don't be less.
What's that? But we're having trouble hearing you right now, Bill. Well, Bill, I can't thank you enough for hopping on. It's always great to get your insight, and we always wait a long time for these first rankings to come out, even though I'm sure there's a few folks.
No, thank you so much for having me on. This is a lot of fun.
I always appreciate the time, sir.
Thank you. I'll talk to you guys soon.
Absolutely. That's Bill Bender from the Sporting News. And yeah, I guess we caught him right in the middle of a walkabout there at the very end of that conversation. But nonetheless, he always does have really good information. Yeah, there is a large part of me that would like to see Vanderbilt and Penn State play in a bowl game and just call it the James Franklin Bowl and be done with it. So that's going on. Of course, the NFL trade deadline happened earlier today as well. And we don't spend a whole lot of energy on that. I just the Titans are who they are, and the Falcons, though, are leading the division. I did not see whether or not the Falcons made any moves today. I'll check that out here during this first time out, but kind of focused on the college football playoff. And I played a little bit from PTI earlier. This is what they think we're going to see tonight in the very first rankings.
We all assume Oregon will be ranked number 1 tonight, but there's intrigue down the ladder. Wilbon, what do you think the committee will do with a couple of your favorite teams, Indiana and Boise State?
They'll just dismiss them for now. They'll make them prove it. Look, I am charmed by the story of the Indiana Hoosiers. I'm a next-door neighbor to the Indiana Hoosiers. You know how many times the Indiana Hoosiers have won 10 games in a regular season in college football in their history? They've been playing about 120 years. You know how many times? None. This is a storybook season for the Hoosiers. So I'm rooting for them, but I think the committee will say, you have the 103rd rated schedule. They only want 12 Alabamas and Georgias and Ohio States. They don't want Boise, no matter how charming Boise is. So they'll dismiss them and make them prove it.
So the only thing I would say to Wilbon and blowback-wise, why wouldn't you want 12 Alabamas and Georgias? Why wouldn't you want that?
You definitely want the 12 best teams, but right now I would say
we're not going to get the 12 best. I mean,
I think so. I think you will. I think you get the 12 best, most deserving teams. I mean, if you got a bunch of losses, you got a bunch of losses. I mean, it is what it is.
There'll be a team that you'll look at this final bracket when it comes out, and you'll go, "Wow, they made it." They'll have an opportunity.
Like Indiana still has to play Ohio State. They have some, and how they do in that game. If they get just monkey stomped, then to me that's like 2 losses.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at, Alabama has 2 losses by 1 possession.
Yep.
So if they get monkey stomped, that's a different thing. LSU got blown out their last game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
But they can make everything better if they beat Alabama. So it's just so much football left.
Will the Alabama LSU game be a top 10 matchup?
That's hard to say. I think so.
I think Alabama will be in the top 10. I'm not so sure about LSU.
Well, whoever wins this game is going to be in the top. It could be vault himself back in the top 10.
Yeah. Now, I think Alabama will be 8, 9.
I think this is an elimination game.
Yeah.
Definitely for LSU and knocks Alabama they'd have a 5% chance, but a lot of things will have to happen. And really, I think it's almost 100%. Just based on all these outliers. You got a team with 1 loss in Alabama with 3 losses. They're not going to jump, in my opinion, not going to jump no matter what their schedule is.
I do have some audio from Lane Kiffin as well as Kirby Smart on that big matchup coming up this weekend. I played a little bit yesterday from Kalen DeBoer as he gets ready to take on the Fighting Tigers of LSU. Also have some audio. Played some yesterday from Brian Kelly, but did also mention about game day coming as well, like they were 13 years ago on this date in Tuscaloosa. And they were also down there for a game that we featured there in 2008 when Corey Reamer was part of that team. And it was fun talking to Corey yesterday. In fact, a couple of people in line at my polling establishment were listening and say, you need to get Corey Reamer on more. So, it's nice to bump into some listeners out there, out and about. That, and I also got a couple of pot shots at Drudy Armand. So, but that's par for the course when I'm out and about. Just it's always fun to interact with the listeners out there. And you can feel free to call in as well at 256-576-4977, the telephone number. Let's go ahead and take our first time out. You will hear the very first college football playoff poll coming up at the top of the hour right here on the Drive.
You're listening to The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Tom Luganville here for my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship team, they all work together to make sure your experience is second to none, whether you drive a Ford or not. Also, check out the gold-certified pre-owned inventory at Woody Anderson Ford for great deals every day. Stop by and see them at Jordan and Sparkman or at Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, or visit WoodyAndersonFord.com.
If hunting and outdoor recreation are your passions, it all starts with the right property. That's where I come in. I am Bo Butler with Southland Realty and Auction, a hunting and recreational land specialist and a Jackson County native who sees land through a hunter's eyes. Just as you trust your guide on a big game hunt, you can trust me to find the perfect property for you. Thinking of selling? Let me help you make your land attract buyers. Remember, Bo knows land. Call me at 256-609-0512.
You want the right specialist for your recovery. At SportsMed Orthopedic Surgery and Spine Center, we understand every body is different. Your muscles and bones are unique, as is your body. Our SportsMed specialists offer innovative treatments and minimally invasive procedures, allowing you to quickly return to the life you love. Locations in Huntsville, Madison, Athens, and Decatur, and on the web at sportsmedalabama.com. Improving performance, improving lives.
Buying that perfect home is one of the most important financial decisions you'll ever make. So it's crucial that you have the right partner to help you through the process. Hi, I'm Stuart Evans, mortgage loan officer for Bryant Bank, and I'm here to tell you that we are that partner. We offer a variety of mortgage products to fit your unique home buying situation in a changing rate environment. That kind of hassle-free approach might not be what you'd expect from a bank, but it's exactly what you can expect from us. Give me a call today or visit me at our downtown Huntsville office and let me show you what banking beyond expectation is all about.
Bryant Bank Equal Housing Lender, NMLS ID 2428943, member FDIC.
Forgiveness. Wow, what a word. What a gift. All of us have done things in our lives that we regret. All of us have done things that are disobedient. All of us have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. Thank God for his forgiveness. Thank God that he separates our sins as far as the east is from the west and remembers them no more. Hey, I'm John Dees, pastor of Cross Point Church, smack dab across the street from the YMCA in Madison. Check us out at cpcfamily.org.
You need a lawyer and pick up the phone. I'm attorney Gary Lackey. When you call for a lawyer, where does that phone ring? My phone rings in my office.
I'm attorney Justin Lackey. My phone rings in my office too.
So does mine. I'm attorney Jennifer Lackey. And when you've been hurt and need help, we're the ones who take your call.
The Lackey Law Firm. The Lackey Law Family. 1-800-4RIGHTS.
No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
It's time to get ready for game day. That means Alabama football and tailgating. Whether you're tailgating at home or at Bryant-Denny, visit Brooks & Collier for North Alabama's largest selection of premium grills and smokers like Big Green Egg, Blaze, Delta Heat, Memphis, and Traeger. Satisfy any palate with our wall of rubs and seasonings. For all your tailgating needs, visit Brooks & Collier at 813 Meridian Street or at brooksandcollier.com. An Alabama tradition for over 75 years. Roll Tide.
This segment of The Drive is brought to you by Woody Anderson Ford, located online at WoodyAndersonFord.com with 2 locations, Hughes Road in Madison and Jordan Lane in Huntsville.
I really hope this isn't the theme song that we'll need after we hear the top 25. Oh, that's a really good song from Aretha Franklin.
Well, when we did the Blues Brothers reach out earlier,
yeah.
I went down a rabbit hole.
I don't blame you.
And this is from Blues Brothers.
It's the best version. Coming up on Thursday, more Thursday night football with our partners over at Westwood One as the Baltimore Ravens playing host to the Cincinnati Bengals. We're your home for the college football playoffs. We're your home for the NFL playoffs. We're your home for the national championship game on college, as well as the Super Bowl coming up in New Orleans. It's all right here on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. And people did ask me, it's amazing how specific sometimes the questions I get out and about, West. But even Black Friday in the past, we air some former Iron Bowls just to whet the appetite. Now, I will tell, and I did tell some folks today, that we do have a Las Vegas Raiders and Kansas City Chiefs game that will air at 1:30. But walking up to that, I will replay a couple of Iron Bowls from the past just to whet that appetite as we are sneaking up at the end of this month with another Iron Bowl with the Crimson Tide and the Auburn Tigers. Anyway, just wanted to pass along that info. And if you haven't need to download our app, you can listen to us anywhere at 977 ESPN in your Google Marketplace or your Apple Store. Or I know it's a big day news-wise. If you want to check out Talk Radio WZZN, this would be a good time to do it, as Bill O'Reilly is about 30 minutes away from taking over those airwaves over on Talk Radio WZZN, and they will also get you all your election coverage there on Talk Radio WZZN. DJ has called in. You can call in too at 256-576-4977. How are you, DJ?
Hey, I'm doing good, Steve. First of all, just want to make sure you can hear me all right.
Loud and clear.
I'm in my old van, and I don't know if I got my radio too loud.
No, you're good right now. You're good right now.
Well, man, I love a good sports conspiracy story, and so I'm going to throw something out there for y'all to know on, okay? So has there been any talk about that there's a thing going on with Florida State for them to tank the season for Deion?
Tank? Now, I have not heard that.
Okay, well, you heard it here first, okay?
Tank for Deion. Keep in mind that after the season concluded last year, that they gave Norvell a bigger contract, which includes a bigger buyout as well.
The day and time we live in with the big college football contracts. I mean, talk about Jimbo Fisher, but that was my, because that's his alma mater, and he likes the warm weather. So there's that.
It's going to take, I don't know how many millionaires and billionaires help pepper the Florida State coffers, but they would have to.
I would think it'd be smarter for FSU to just go buy some better players and not waste the money on because Norvell's already showed that he can go undefeated at Florida State. I think it'd be a mistake because that's a lot of capital.
Okay.
That's a lot of capital that will be going to pay a coach. That's a pretty good coach. It's just, missed on a quarterback.
Yeah.
Really. I mean, missed on a couple other. I mean, you can't go paying second-team players from other schools. You need to go get first-team players from all over the country to fit what your culture is and be leaders. And that's not. But you look at Tennessee did it last year with their defense. I mean, who would have thought their defense would be playing like this?
Yeah.
I just think if you got a guy that can coach, and I think Norvell can, and he's proved that. Now, if he does it again next year, that's a different story.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I'm just going to say that you heard it here first.
All right.
And, remember that. My other bit, just to chew on a little bit, is Boise State took Oregon to the limit, right?
Yep.
I know their schedule is not, but they've done amazing things before. What do you think about them if they win out? What's that looking like?
Oh, I think they'll make the playoffs if they win out.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any doubt about that. Where they'll be ranked, though, they won't. I mean, it'll be bottom half because of their schedule.
They'd be the 12 seed.
Yeah.
Well, and that was it. You say, Wes, it's hard to beat a team twice in the same year. So.
Yeah, it really is, and especially a good team. If they're not a good team, it's easy to beat them twice.
Yeah.
but when you have to play a team twice, so what's going to happen when you play a team?
Landy here,
Yeah, they're gonna. What happens for the team that won is they're gonna have to, everything they did good, and it's gonna have to be, that's what the other team's gonna work on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it makes it very hard, especially against really good coaches.
DJ, since you went there, the craziest thing I've heard involving Dion is that the Jets. Is that the Jets are going to hire Dion and then take Shedeur Sanders with their first overall pick if they get that high enough of a pick. That's by far the craziest thing that I've heard in that realm.
Well, the craziest thing I heard the last 2 years is the Jets were going to be good.
Well played. Well played.
And hey, I mean, I'm an armchair quarterback professional, okay, but it's hard for some of these guys to hang it up and be done.
Yep.
So I so respect the ones that go out, and just know, hey, it's time. That's pretty cool that you said that, Steve. I've not heard that, but man, that's not unrealistic. I'll be honest. I don't think so.
It would be a very Jet thing to do.
There you go.
Thank you, DJ.
Well, guys, I know it's been a long time, but I appreciate your talk.
I appreciate you calling in. 256-576-4977, the telephone number. I don't know if you've heard, Wes, but evidently after Thursday night win, the Jets are winning out. I mean, it's pretty clear that the Jets are going to win out and make a run to New Orleans. That's what I keep hearing.
Yeah, well, we'll see. I wouldn't hold my breath.
All right, so moving back over to Alabama and LSU. Brian Kelly, he was asked about those penalties for the Crimson Tide. How can you capitalize on that?
Hopefully our crowd's loud and will cause a lot of pre-snap penalties. That's one thing we can hope for. Maybe we'll turn the lights off on them a couple of times. We're going to try everything. But, other than that, it's really about, for us, maintaining our composure and really for us, we can't be that team, that gets flagged. Look, there's always going to be a penalty, because there's extra effort and I get that, but we can't have the pre-snap penalties. We can't have the ones that are out of emotion. And so, we'll look to continue to play hard and hopefully that Tiger Stadium becomes a little bit too much for the Crimson Tide to handle.
I'm glad he said that.
I thought you'd like that very end part where I'm
glad he said that.
Tiger Stadium becomes a little bit too much for the Crimson Tide to handle.
There you go. Well, I think the key to this game is Jalen Milroe running the ball.
Yeah.
Not planned runs, when he drops back to pass and he takes it off, I think that's what I'm hoping. So
I mentioned Elijah Pritchett yesterday, and you kind of, I thought you gave some good detail on what a lot of people are perceiving as issues there for 57.
Yeah, I mean, he's just a young player.
Yeah.
I mean, and a lot of that was he was being tricked. You know, he's getting beat some, you know, but you're going to get beat some. But I'm going to tell you, you want to slow down that pass rush, have number 4 take off once or twice.
Yeah.
That slows down the pass rush then. And you got to make play. I mean, we're going to, you know, you can't be jumping off sides. That's what I'm, you know, the pre-step penalties and all that, you can't do that. You know, they need to go in there and play clean, make plays, don't give up any big plays. You know, and put a little. If we can get ahead and put a little pressure on them, this quarterback will throw it to you. You know, you put a little pressure on them, and you know, if they can come out and make some plays and get a lead, I think Alabama can win this game. In Baton Rouge at night, and that'll be the first time Brian Kelly lost at night in Baton Rouge.
Well, yeah, he said it himself.
It's not going to be easy, though. I mean, Alabama's a 2.5-point favorite, I believe, right now.
I checked; it was 3. It was up to 3 today. Hey, here's what Kalen DeBoer had to say on Elijah Pritchett. This is the Monday press.
And I think they have the best quarterback.
Here is Kalen DeBoer on Elijah Pritchett.
Yeah, I think Elijah's got a ton of potential, you know, and a lot of things that he's grown in. There's always the areas, and at this time of the year, there's enough film on someone to where, you know, teams attack you certain ways, and whether we're talking about, you know, the tackle position or, you know, it could be anywhere, defensive back, defensive line, you put on film as a team. As an individual, the things that opponents are going to look at, and so he's continuing to work hard every single day. I mean, it just, you know, he comes out to practice, he's competitive. I feel like his growth has been kind of proven over the year. I think there's a consistency to him that is higher than what it was at the beginning or even the middle of the season. And, that's what you're looking for. That's all you can ask in your players, is that they continue to grow. They can continue to, improve. And he's doing that. And, we'll continue to help him as coaches. That's our job.
That is Kalen DeBoer. And he did announce that Cole Adams is out. And he was later asked on how that would affect the punt return game.
Yeah, I mean, you will go with, who you feel best about, obviously. We need to continue to always build depth. Said this at the beginning of the year to our special teams, coordinator with Jay Nunez. He does a great job, but also just in developing returners. It isn't just your upperclassmen that you can do it, you have confidence in, but it's also developing younger guys. And you have seen just as much as anyone has that we have younger guys that we've been putting out there with Bach and Ryan, and we need to continue to develop more and more, not just for today, not just for the next couple games or the rest of the season, but also for the future, years to come. And so just over and over, you just can't catch enough kicks, punts, and then all the situations that come along with it, when to field it, when to fair catch it, the communication that happens, just being comfortable back there. It's reps and reps and reps of that. And so we're going to always continue to develop more and more guys. And, kind of who you've been seeing is who we'll start out with Bach and Ryan. But, whether we pick just one or the other, I think there's also pieces with the flow of the game, and just things like that might dictate, or even a situational call that we want to where we have a certain guy out there.
Well, Wes, what is the biggest question mark that you have from an Alabama standpoint in this matchup against LSU? I thought it was a pretty poignant question.
Hello?
You there, Wes?
Well, maybe we lost him.
Maybe
everything looks good on this end.
A lot of people have pointed this to being a playoff game, a play-in game, rather than a just keep your name in the hat kind of game. Brian Kelly on the importance of this game. Resume, I would argue that this is bigger for LSU than it is for Alabama.
I think, each game that we play is a new game in itself. And I think it goes to what I talked about. We're much more focused on playing 4 quarters of football. Our focus last week was, cleaning up the things that we needed to take care of internally. And so our focus, where our real work was thinking about what we needed to do better to play at a higher level. Look, all that other stuff is out there, but it doesn't help us relative to what we need to do. And I know there's been other national talks about, this is an elimination game. Well, if this is an elimination game, every game in the SEC is an elimination game. Everybody that has a loss, everybody that has 2 losses, everybody that plays each other, it's an elimination game. So we can kind of put that to rest. This is really about each team in the SEC knows where they're at, right? I mean, the record speaks for itself. This is about you need to play your very best when your best is needed.
There you go. That's Brian Kelly. And by the way, Coach, that this is, at least resume-wise, I still think it's bigger for LSU than it is for Alabama. Just it just is. But we'll see what happens. Let's go ahead and take our final time out. We'll let you listen to the top 25 reveal coming up at the top of the hour and get your reactions as well. Bryce, hang on for a second. We'll get to you on the other side.
You're listening to The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Hey folks, Bobby White back again for Woody Anderson Ford. If you're in the market for a new ride, now is the time to make your move. We've got over 700 new Fords to choose from, and with over 2,700 Google reviews, our customers have spoken, giving us a pretty impressive 4.4 out of 5 stars. Believe me, we work hard every day to earn those 5 stars. Just tell us what you need. This month only, we're offering big savings on your favorite Ford models. You can save up to $10,000 off MSRP on a 2024 F-150 Super Crew pickup. Or take $9,500 off MSRP on a 2024 Edge all-wheel drive. And if you're looking for something even bigger, take a spin in our 2024 Family Size Expedition, available for $11,000 off MSRP. Deals end November 30th. And with always, it's with your good credit. Stop by Woody Anderson Ford today or visit us online at WoodyAndersonFord.com. With deals this good, you don't want to wait. I'm Bobby White, and we hope to see you soon.
Ann Adams with Berkshire Hathaway Rise Real Estate is the one name to know if you're buying or selling real estate. With years of local experience, Ann Adams offers buyers in-depth knowledge of the local housing market and will narrow available properties down to those you'll be interested in so you can save time when shopping for your new home. If you're ready to sell, Ann offers a seamless process using accurate pricing and expert negotiation skills to make sure you get a fair price for your home. Call Ann Adams today at 256-337-2625 or log on bhhsriserealestate.com.
Carrabba's Italian Grill is the best place to enjoy authentic Italian cuisine, passed down from our founders' family recipes. Featuring a wood-burning grill, you can enjoy Carrabba's signature dishes, including chicken brine, wood-fire grilled steak and chops, and classic Italian pasta dishes. Have a special event? Elevate your catering with Carrabba's Catering, the perfect way to enjoy large party portions of your favorite hand-prepared dishes for any event. Carrabba's Italian Grill at Parkway Place, Huntsville.
The state's largest orthopedic group is growing to meet the needs of the patients in our community. The Orthopedic Center has long been the most trusted name in orthopedics in North Alabama. So as our area continues on the fast track, so does the need for premier orthopedic care anywhere and anytime you need it. TOC is proud to announce the opening of our new locations in Albertville and Hampton Cove, along with the grand opening of our newest office in Decatur. These clinics will offer the same high-quality orthopedic care you have come to associate with TOC, with the convenience of being closer to home. As a patient, your time is your most precious asset, and we recognize that at TOC. That's why we are also proud to announce the opening of our urgent ortho clinics to handle those bumps and bruises that need prompt attention. These clinics are available to care for acute orthopedic injuries with no appointment necessary. With 38 physicians, 20 centers of excellence, and now more than a dozen locations to serve you, TOC will continue to be the name you turn to for the best orthopedic care at the right time. Visit our website at visittoc.com for more information. TOC, helping you live a better life.
The company is Eagle Masonry and Insulation, but did you know they're also Eagle Landscaping and Dirt Work? Eagle can take care of all your landscaping needs, including irrigation, sod work, and planting, both plants and trees. On the dirt work side, Eagle can grade and build your pads, haul dirt in or out, and even do erosion control. Philip Love and his team can do it all for you. The website is the same, insulatewitheagle.com, as is the phone number, 256-755-1556. Give them a call and see what Eagle can do for you. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. A partly sunny to mostly cloudy sky this afternoon. A couple of isolated showers certainly can't be ruled out across the Tennessee Valley, but it does appear the vast majority of us are going to be dry. We are once again going to be on the warmer end of the spectrum. Temperatures climbing into the mid and upper 70s, only dropping into the mid 60s as we head into the overnight. Once again, a partly sunny to mostly cloudy sky Wednesday afternoon. Slightly better opportunity for rain, but otherwise it is once again going to be warm across the area. Temperatures climbing into the upper 70s and lower 80s. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
College football.
The ball is caught. It is a touchdown.
Major League Baseball.
That ball is gone. A home run.
This is your place for complete sports coverage all year long. 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Election Day 2024. Also, the very first college football playoff poll. That show about to start in about 9 minutes' time. We'll let you listen to it if you happen to be out and about and would like to get your reactions to that as well, as LSU bringing a 14-game Tiger Stadium winning streak into the game against the Crimson Tide coming up Saturday night, a game that you can hear right here on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Are you there? You are, Wes.
I'm back.
Had a little trouble with the connection to the undisclosed location.
All good. All good. All good. Well, we had to connect to the tin can, I guess. Let's
got the squirrels out of the dish.
That's always helpful too. Bryce, you've been holding patiently. How are you, Bryce?
I'm doing fine. Wes, first of all, I want to say congratulations on your new granddaughter.
Well, it's a grand boy, but thank you.
I'm sorry, I heard it wrong. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I had a boy. You probably heard the name Rowan, so that can that's a. Well, we're very happy. I did have a baby girl 3 months ago. So
well, maybe you were talking about that. Then okay, maybe I talked to fill in. But anyway, congratulations on your new grandchild.
Thank you very much, Bryce. I appreciate that.
How's your knee, Wes?
It's getting better.
Good.
It's a long process.
One pickleball game at a time.
Right. Well, guys, I really think if we go in there and run the ball like we did against Missouri, we can win this game. And the defense has been playing good lately, but we just need to tell Kendrick Law that we do not need a 15-yard penalty in this game. I mean, he's got two of those in each game. The last two games, he's got one. I hope somebody has set him down and told him we don't need that.
Yeah, the last one was kind of shaky, but the other one was horrendous. So yeah,
All
I
right.
agree.
I understand.
There's nobody needs to get one. You know, you can't beat. It's hard enough winning, but when you get 15-yard penalties, my dad used to say when Coach Bryant first got there, if you got a 15-yard penalty in practice, he'd kick you off the team. He'd tell you you're not worth 15 yards. So
you need to do something.
Yeah, I mean,
get across to him because it's ridiculous.
Yeah, I think that I think slowly, this team plays better when they, especially the quarterback, in my opinion, when he has an edge, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The guy is ultra talented. He's just young and still a little inexperienced, and he's still growing. And sometimes you get growing pains. And I'm hoping that he realizes what he does right now. It will be how he's remembered. These games right here are how you remember.
What's the 14-game winning streak against Alabama?
No. That's not what I said. That's not what I said. That is not what I said. I said LSU brings a 14-game Tiger Stadium winning streak into this game.
Brian Kelly has not lost in Baton Rouge at night.
That's right, because he did beat us there one time, and everybody thought he was a Hall of Famer after he beat Nick there one time.
He got it down to, if you remember, that was just down to that one play, and it was a 2-point conversion, and they were able to convert it.
Yeah, from then on, everybody wanted to put him in the Hall of Fame. I really don't think he's as good a coach as everybody's giving him credit for. He beat Coach Saban one time, and then everybody thought he'd hung the moon. He's won a few games.
Are there any SEC coaches that he ranks above in your mind, Bryce? Hugh Freeze, Billy Napier, Sam Pittman, Mike Elko.
See, I like all them guys, but I
you
don't
like
him.
You like him more than Brian Kelly. Hugh Freeze.
Ooh, boy, that's like a thimbleful, as my grandmother would say. It's like a thimble different. And that ain't very much, Steve. I don't know if you know what a thimble is.
No,
that ain't very much, buddy.
I've heard that. I've heard that saying plenty of times. Yes.
That ain't very much, but no, he's not as good a coach as everybody is giving him credit for. He got lucky and he beat Coach one time, and everybody thought that he was a Hall of Famer after that.
Right. Gene Chizik has a national championship on his resume. So
Gene Chizik's won national championships as assistants as well.
That's true.
Gene Chizik's a really good coach.
He is a defensive coach. I think that's where
he was at Texas.
Haney, where Mr. Haney messed up at North Carolina, firing him as his DC, because I think it went downhill after that. Because I think he's always been a good defensive coach. Chizik has.
It's been a rough year for the old Tar Heels.
Yeah, but they say that they're just going to part ways, and and everybody's going to agree to it. It's not like he's getting fired. It's a mutual situation, from what I understand.
I have not heard that become official, but I've heard whispers of that.
Well, I have some friends. See, I lived in Charlotte 6 years, and I have some friends that are real close to that area. To the University of North Carolina State. But guys, I appreciate y'all letting me talk. And there again, congratulations. Enjoy that grandbaby, Wes.
Thank you so much, Bryce. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Bryce. We will turn things over to Reese Davis, but I will bring him back from break because we still have Sports Center at the top of the hour. But we'll all sit back and listen to exactly what the committee has to say on their first top 25 poll. They are not releasing a bracket. This is the regular top 25 poll. All right? We all good? We'll be right back.
Hi, folks. Bobby White back again for Woody Anderson Ford, inviting you to come test drive any one of our over 100 F-150s. From rock-solid, dependable work trucks to our state-of-the-art Platinum Series, we've got an F-150 for you. Test drive one today, and you'll understand why the F-150 is the best-selling truck in America, going on 48 years in a row. Just as successful offenses and defenses are built on teamwork, Woody Anderson Ford is powered by our people. Our sales and service teams are well trained to save you time and money. And because we want your business again and again, no one will work harder to earn it. Our mobile service teams come to your home or business for oil changes, brake work, tire rotations, and more. And the great thing is you don't pay extra for it. We come to you with mobile service at no extra charge. Proud to be local, family-owned, and at your service for over 62 years. Woody Anderson Ford, Alabama's F-150 Superstore.
WZZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. Alabama! Your home of the Crimson Tide Sports Network.
This is Sports Center.
Suspension for Joel Embiid. Sixers star handed a 3-game ban without pay for shoving Philadelphia Inquirer columnist Marcus Hayes over the weekend after a loss to the Grizzlies. Embiid is yet to play this season because of ongoing issues with his left knee. Had surgery on it last season. He'll lose over $1 million in pay. Suspension will be instituted whenever he is deemed ready to play. NFL trade deadline today. Couple contenders making some moves. Steelers adding to their receiver core, acquiring Mike Williams from the Jets in exchange for a 5th-round pick. Williams has been one of the best contested catch receivers in the NFL over the course of his career. ESPN NFL analyst Louis Riddick likes the addition for Pittsburgh's offense.
So now you've got George Pickens, who's kind of an inside-outside dude who can do a little bit of the short intermediate passing game and the vertical game. Mike Williams is a vertical outside lane guy, an X-wide receiver, a guy who does exactly what you're seeing on your screen. Yeah. They got Calvin Austin III to play the slot. So now they've got guys who kind of mix and match with one another.
Riddick on NFL Live. Steelers also added Preston Smith in a trade with the Packers in exchange for a 7th-round pick. Smith has 2.5 sacks and 19 tackles this season. Commanders boosting their secondary, trading for Saints corner Marshawn Lattimore. Commanders traded 2025 picks in the 3rd and 4th round. Gave the Saints a 2025 6th-rounder as well. Commanders got a 5th back to help add to that back 7.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ, Chris Candy. Coming up Wednesday, we're at the halfway point of the NFL season. I'll tell you which teams and players I've been most disappointed in. It's Unsportsmanlike, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
97.7 ESPN The Zone. Welcome to The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline, 256-576-4977.
That's how I roll. And I'm not going to drink and drive anymore.
That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Wes and Steve.
The college football playoff show has just started. I can tell you just visually that Reese Davis going with the Matlock suit. He's going gray on gray. But here is Reese Davis in the very first poll of this college football campaign.
Take what belongs to you. Downfield. Touchdown.
Here, a new landscape awaits. A new path to victory. This is where the line will end and the final test begins. For sole possession of the number 1. So many numbers in the world. So many teams vying for this prize. But who's counting? We are.
For 10 years,
when we unveiled these rankings, we were talking about 4 spots. By definition, at that time, that meant a major conference would be left out. Its champion would be left out no matter what. Things have changed. There are only 4 power conferences now. And the 13-member College Football Playoff Selection Committee meeting in Grapevine, Texas, a little bit of a different task. No longer do they have to evaluate conference championships. Those are automatically included into the field. Now they have more wiggle room, which also probably means more discrepancy. Glad to have you with us. College Football Playoff Top 25. Coming up in a matter of moments, we will unveil exclusively the rankings. We don't see them until you do. Reese Davis, Booger McFarland, Joey Galloway, Greg McElroy here to guide you through the process. So for 10 years, Joey argued over 4 teams. Joey and Booger both wish there were still 4 teams. But we've got 12. Now, look, I know we've done this a lot, but I want to walk you through exactly what the 12-team playoff will look like and how these teams are selected, how many automatic bids, how many at-large bids. 12 teams will make up the playoff. The 5 highest-ranked conference champions go into the field automatically. Means winning your conference championship game, you get in. The 4 highest-ranked will receive buys into the quarterfinals. Then remainder of the field will play in the first round. A 5th conference champion will be in there someplace, either depending on where they are ranked, or they will be moved into the 12th spot if they are lower than that. And you see them, we play out the bracket, no reseeding, and ultimately it goes through to the national championship game in Atlanta on January 20th, which Inauguration Day, too, just to sort of bookend things. You start on Election Day, you finish on Inauguration Day. Here it is in writing. 5 highest-ranked conference champions, all in automatically. 4 highest receive first-round buys. Then that's where the difference between seeding and ranking comes in. Then the 7 at-large teams are determined by the remaining highest-ranked teams. And then the thing I think most of us are most excited about, seeds 5 through 8 host the first-round game. So that's how it's going to work. We'll keep going over it, too, because I know when you start to see differences in the rankings and the seeding, it's going to be a little bit confusing. You have to figure it out. What are you most looking forward to from these first ones?
Well, if you look at the AP Top 10, there's 6 one-loss teams in the AP Top 10. And I'm going to focus in on Georgia and Ohio State. Who's going to be higher in the committee's initial rankings? That's going to be the thing I'm looking at. And number 2, I think Indiana is the most disrespected team in the country. Undefeated Big Ten team where they're ranked. Where does the committee view Indiana based on who they played and based on what they have to come against Ohio State?
This is the first ranking. They didn't get disrespected yet. You got, which is
they have been disrespected.
By who? This is the first ranking.
I understand that.
So this is when, honestly, this is the show when Herbstreit would always, while he's petting his dog, would say, everyone relax. This is the first ranking. There's no point of getting upset, no point of being bothered. This is the very first one. There's a lot of football left to be played. So Indiana over here.
Yes.
Relax. They ain't been disrespected yet. This is the first ranking. Okay. There's a lot of football. They have a chance to prove themselves no matter where you are tonight.
Indiana is going to be a great test case. No doubt about it, because based on who they've played, the age-old adage against who, not great. How they've looked, fantastic. Yeah. So eye test versus resume. We do this every year. But I think what most people are going to be fascinated. We've gone through this exercise a couple times now, the last couple weeks, and have had some fun at the AP voters' expense. But you're going to realize that we thought the 12-team playoff, we'd be including so many teams. Like, oh, there's no way anyone's getting left out now. We're almost going to let teams in that have no business being there. I think people will find that the 12-team playoff feels like a lot of spots, but that number of teams shrinks really quickly, especially when you take into account the conference champions. So it's going to be fascinating to watch for people to kind of see that. And imagine the reaction is going to be quite strong.
You know what makes me laugh? Everybody gets all mad at the AP poll. It's often not a lot different from the selection committee. And
maybe that's the problem. Maybe that's the issue.
But also you end up asking people when you say this, okay, what would you do differently? And it's typically maybe Indiana 2 spots high. You know, it's really not much in Indiana, that 103 strength of schedule. That is the art form, because Indiana's looked fantastic. Yes. I mean, they've dropped the people's elbow on everybody in their path, but their task is going to get much tougher coming up in the next few weeks of November. So let's unveil the rankings exclusively. The All-State College Football Playoff Top 25. At number 25, the only team in the country that hasn't trailed for 1 second, the Black Knights of the Hudson Army, led by Jeff Munkin. Bryson Daly, hoping he'll be back soon. Their quarterback, they are 8-0 and number 25. Just ahead of the Cadets at number 24. a little bit of a surprise. Missouri hasn't looked great here so far.
And people have been beating up the AP for having Missouri in. Missouri beat Vanderbilt, who has some pretty good wins on their resume. So while I don't think Missouri's playing or trending in the right direction, it's understandable that they start at 6-2 with a decent win in the top 25.
At number 23, just ahead of Eli Drinkwitz's Tigers. Speaking of teams trending in the wrong direction after Saturday night, Clemson, Dabo Swinney had problems at the poll today. His son, with the same first name, had already voted. Had to give Dabo a paper ballot. Apparently, the ballot's enough. Got to Clemson
says
at
a lot.
number 23. Number 22, Louisville, who just put it on Clemson on Saturday night. And those 3 losses for the Cardinals, all against good teams and all competitive games. They lost to
ranked 25 teams.
Yeah,
Real
they lost to Miami, they lost to SMU, and they lost to Notre Dame. And all of them were competitive games. So the Jeff Brom's team at number 22. At 21, Washington State. Now, Herb Street has asked this a couple of times on game day. Washington State doesn't have a conference right now. They can't get an automatic bid into the playoff. In order to get into the field, Washington will have to move into at least the top 12, maybe the top 11, depending on where that 5th conference champion is ranked at the end. But Wazoo with a great place at number 21. How about Colorado? 6-2, huge game coming up against Texas Tech on Saturday.
What a weekend Colorado had, being off and then sitting back and watching Iowa State lose and Kansas State lose. Great weekend for Colorado because now they're sitting in a place that if they can win out with a very easy schedule, they got a chance to get in.
Except for maybe Saturday when the tortillas will be flying in Lubbock.
You just did that to Texas A&M and South Carolina, and you took them down. Now you're taking down Colorado.
He's just pointing it out.
Yeah,
It's no picnic playing the Red Raiders. No.
It's not, but they can't stop much most of the time, although they were better on Saturday. I like Colorado in that game. Kansas State, a tough loss to Houston. It really hurt the Wildcats there at number 19, just ahead of K-State at 18. The Pittsburgh Panthers, they got clobbered by SMU on Saturday night, their first loss of the season. Pittsburgh has been opportunistic, and then early in the season, the offense was humming. Offense has sputtered a little bit of late. Panthers still in the mix with only one loss in ACC play. Iowa State just suffered its first loss at the hands of Texas Tech in Ames last Saturday. Matt Campbell's team is number 17 at 7-1 and still in the mix in a wide open Big 12. Hotty toddy, Ole Miss is 16. Ole Miss is now in a place in the season where everything's an elimination game. And it starts Saturday afternoon at home against Georgia. If Ole Miss loses, virtually no shot of making the 12-team field.
Based on eye test and talent, Ole Miss is among the best teams in college football. Now, have they shot themselves in the foot? Yes, twice against both Kentucky and obviously on the road at LSU. But this is a very dangerous team, and this is one of those teams we talked about. 12 feels like a lot, but man, Ole Miss, they're one of those teams that don't have the margins to get back into it.
I think they lost in overtime to LSU and didn't trail until the game-winning touchdown at the end, and that was the slightest margin of difference, and LSU is in the same boat as Ole Miss. Everything's an elimination game. They have one against Alabama coming up on Saturday night.
Yeah, LSU only has one conference loss, and everything is in front of them. You beat Alabama. They got 4 conference games left. Alabama, Vanderbilt, Oklahoma, and Florida. They win those games, they'll have an opportunity to play for an SEC championship.
You know, that's a great point, too, because LSU feels like only one more loss would do them in. Depending on what else happens, if they win a tiebreaker, get into the SEC championship game. We've talked a lot about hope. There are 2 paths of hope. There's getting into the top 12, and then there's also working your way into your conference championship game and getting an automatic bid. Now, we're going to do this differently this year. Once we get to this point in the rankings, we're going to show you the first and second teams out and then where they would go on the bracket. Texas A&M is number 14, and the Aggies, after the loss to South Carolina, they are the second team out, and the committee has them ranked 14th. So the first team out of the field is SMU from the ACC.
All I'm saying is, does that mean Indiana is not disrespected in this? They are now on this bracket, so they are not disrespected. But Boog, to your point.
What if they're not in the top 25?
Why is Plus, Army doesn't feel disrespected. They're coming in at 25, and they look really good too. And Indiana's strength of schedule is terrible. But go ahead, Reese.
It is, but I would still say that even Indiana's schedule, they played some middling teams in the Big Ten, which is a higher level of
really
competition.
Good playing
They look great. The higher level of competition than Army has faced to this point.
I don't like
Let's get this one. Now, this is really important, guys, because the selection committee has Boise State ranked 12th. This would make Boise State, if they project and win the Mountain West, the 5th highest ranked conference champion. Now, they slot into the 12th because they're ranked 12th. If they happen to get ranked higher by the end, then they will be seeded higher. But for the moment, they are seeded 12th. Who's seeded 11th? Who's number 11 in the rankings? Alabama. Elimination game for the Crimson Tide. One would think already 2 conference losses against LSU Saturday night. Now, Alabama's strength of schedule off the charts, and they've got the huge win against Georgia.
No doubt. And everything is in front of Alabama. They got to get the quarterback, Jalen Milroe, to continue to play at a high level. In the games that they've struggled, he's thrown interceptions, hadn't been able to read the field. But from a defensive standpoint, this defense is getting better and better. Their playmakers are starting to work up front. And Kalen DeBoer, though, get his team to play to the optimal level. I think the biggest difference between a Nick Saban team and a Kalen DeBoer team, Nick Saban's team played to their maximum level more times than not. Kalen hadn't quite got this team to do that yet.
You know, Alabama has not played a team with a losing record, and at the moment doesn't have one on their schedule with the exception of Auburn at the end. Now, Oklahoma may wind up with one, others might. But at this point, nobody has. Number 10. The Fighting Irish of Notre Dame. Now, I brought up in the open one of the more confounding cases because Notre Dame had the great win at A&M. They also had the worst loss on the board, losing at home to Northern Illinois.
They have a win against Navy, which is a good win, even though Navy just dropped another one this weekend. And they have Army coming up, the team I just mentioned, being disrespected by Boog in Indiana.
The Louisville win also very good.
That's a great point, Greg. They've beaten Louisville, and who would have thought that they would need something to offset having to play Florida State on Saturday? Right. And Florida State at 1-8. Number 9 in the rankings, BYU. Now, this is where you have to follow along. They're ranked 9th, but because BYU is leading the Big 12, if it were to end this way, the Cougars, if they win that conference, they would go into the 4 seed, get a bye into the quarterfinals because they would be the 4th highest ranked conference champion.
And this one to me feels underrated. I mean, I look at BYU with a 9 next to their name, undefeated with significant win over number 13 SMU, pounded Kansas State by nearly 30 points, turned them over a bunch in that game. I know they've been outgained in a few different games. I understand that, but I look at game control, undefeated, strength of record. They check a lot of boxes. So at 9, that just feels painfully low with what BYU's accomplished.
They have the game with Utah coming up this weekend on the road, the rivalry game, and ranked just ahead of BYU, the Indiana Hoosiers. Now ranked 8th, but because BYU pushes everybody down a slot, that would give Indiana a road game to start the playoff at seeded 9.
Well, this goes to show you that Indiana and the committee really values eye test, because if you're going based exclusively on how teams execute on both sides of the ball, Indiana is up there closer to Oregon than they are to being outside the college football playoff conversation. Now, they're not the brand name, and yes, so far up to this point, they have a strength of schedule that's triple digit. Yep. It's not great, but with how they've played and the level in which they've executed at, I think they're appropriately ranked at 8th with the arrow pointing up, given some of the big hurdles they have coming up against Michigan and at Ohio State.
They're like 10-58 all time against Michigan. Wonder, this will be the first test about looking at the helmet across the way and thinking, you know, they always beat us. And then the challenge at Ohio State. Indiana's remaining schedule is in the top 15 in the country, so they'll have their opportunities to prove themselves. Ranked number 7, Tennessee. What a first-round game that would be, huh? In Neyland Stadium.
Take the over.
Here comes Sig Eddie and the Hoosiers into Knoxville. See,
you like the over. I might like the under.
I like the over.
Defense.
Indiana has been scoring a lot of points, and Tennessee will have to stay with them. Take the over.
Tennessee's got an argument to make right here, though. I mean, they're sitting at 8. I understand that. Or 7, excuse me. I understand that. But there's an argument to be made that their resume is actually better than several other one-loss teams that are likely going to be in front of them, like Texas and Penn State.
And Greg, I gave you Herbie's line earlier, and you're totally blown right
matters.
past it. It is the
matters.
First ranking.
You tried to say this last year, and we sat here on selection day.
It's the first ranking, but it's a glimpse inside what the committee is thinking. I think the committee is holding the Arkansas loss against Tennessee.
Just win. And you know what? I think you're right. And also Alabama, that's their biggest win. Alabama's up. They're in the field. That's a great win. I'm not trying to diminish it, but Alabama's not playing its best.
But they're inside. Just win. That's it.
Yep. Number 6, and Tennessee, too, also with an opportunity against Georgia and could get to the SEC championship game. Going to be a little bit tougher for Penn State to get into the Big Ten championship game, one would think, after losing to Ohio State. They don't play Oregon, but Penn State, Notre Dame, that would be fun in Happy Valley. Texas is number 5. Alabama and Texas don't play in the regular season as it's stacked up right now. Crimson Tide would go to Austin.
And Texas is interesting to me because when you look at their resume and who they played, on the road at Michigan. Michigan at the time in the AP was number 10. The other one they have is Oklahoma. At the time, Oklahoma was 18. Both of those teams, depending upon how the committee looked at those teams at the time, aren't very good football teams right now. Right. So when you look at Texas' resume, they lost to Georgia. They beat Vandy in a 3-point game. Greg, to your point of these other teams deserve to be better, I'm not quite sure where Texas deserves to be. They're sitting at 5 right now. That seems high with their resume so far.
Maybe, but I'm good with Texas at 5. Yeah. I think it's deserved. I mean, you brought it up earlier, Joey, when we were talking before the show. After you played Georgia, you're beat up.
Yeah.
You go into Vanderbilt, they got the win.
They haven't beat anybody, though.
Fair
enough.
Who
have they beat?
No, it's fair. It's a fair point. All right, number 4. The Miami Hurricanes leading the ACC. They have snatched victory from the jaws of defeat on multiple occasions. They are ranked 4. They would be seeded 3rd.
And I think when you look at Miami, I think Cam Ward is going to win the Heisman Trophy. He's been that good throughout this college football season, but he has to be because he's got to make up for some of the deficiencies on this team. Defensively, I still have questions about them. Running the football, can they do it consistently? But Cam Ward covers up for a multitude of sins for that team, and I would not want to face him because he's been the best quarterback in the country at making plays down the stretch for his team.
How about last year? I think they were 1-4 in one possession game.
Yes.
This year they've won 3 of them, and Duke Saturday wasn't a one-possession game, but it was a 1-point game in the fourth quarter before.
Right. At a certain point.
But yeah, before here's Miami's whole philosophy: we have Cam Ward, and you don't.
Yep.
Yes, and
it works.
It has worked perfectly. Ranked number 3. The Georgia Bulldogs. So Georgia is behind the 2 Big Ten teams. Georgia would be seeded 2nd as the leaders in the SEC if they wind up there and ultimately win the conference. Big game at Ole Miss. Big game coming at home against Tennessee after that. And then the top 2 teams, it's pretty easy. Ohio State is number 2. They would host Boise State to start. Again, this is worth pointing out. Ohio State ranked number 2, but because they would not be a conference champion in this projection, can't be seated in the top 4, that would push them down to the spot that Joey said a couple of weeks ago that would be coveted. And, of course, the number 1 team in the land, the team that beat Ohio State by a single point, the Oregon Ducks.
There you go. That is your playoff rankings. And, again, Alabama 11 and Notre Dame 10. How about that?
Alabama beats LSU, they'll jump them. I mean, at the end of the year, that's why I don't think any of this matters. I mean, it's one of those things where Alabama just needs to keep winning, and who knows what will happen.
Any of that surprise you? The fact that there's 2 Big Ten teams at the top with Oregon and Ohio State ahead of Georgia?
I don't think Ohio State should be ahead of Georgia, but, there was a close game. But Ohio State hadn't played anybody. Mm-hmm. They played Penn State, which is a pretty good team, and they played Oregon, it was a very good game. So Ohio State's a good football team, but I don't think if they're playing their best now, it won't be good enough. They'll have to get better. When I watch them, and that's going to be a big game in the Indiana. As well. I mean, Indiana could could I think they can beat Ohio State. I think Indiana has a good team.
Yeah.
They're just their schedule is killing them.
I want to go back and re-listen to what Booger McFarland said about Alabama. It initially caught my ear. I want to make sure I heard this right.
Off the charts, and they've got the huge win against Georgia.
No doubt. And everything is in front of Alabama. They got to get the quarterback, Jalen Milroe, to continue to play at a high level. In the games that they've struggled, he's thrown interceptions, hadn't been able to read the field. But from a defensive standpoint, this defense is getting better and better. Their playmakers are starting to work up front. Can Kalen DeBoer get his team to play to the optimal level? I think the biggest difference between a Nick Saban team and a Kalen DeBoer team, Nick Saban's team played to their maximum level more times than not. Kalen hadn't quite got this team to do that yet.
You know, Alabama has not.
Well, so obviously they played good enough to beat Georgia, which nobody else has come really close.
Yeah.
To beating Georgia. So I don't know. I think the consistency in penalties has hurt Alabama, and they've had some injuries. But the penalties and inconsistencies on both offense and defense. And, you know, I don't think Jalen Milroe's played his best football yet. I'm hoping he gets in a rhythm.
Boy, he looked pretty darn good in the first half of the Georgia game and looked pretty good at Wisconsin as well.
No question. But he hasn't until last week, the second half.
Yeah.
Not last week, the week before last. And in that game, he got in a rhythm when he took off, and it changed the whole game. And it turned into, where they just whipped Missouri, and they could have put 50 or 60 on them at the end. It was and they were out their quarterback, but their defense is strong now. Missouri's defense is good. This game, obviously, with 2.5 points, I think it's a pick 'em down there in Baton Rouge. And, this game could go either way. But to me, if Kalen DeBoer can make the playoffs this year, it sets him up to be very successful at Alabama.
Yeah.
If he doesn't, there's still, he's going to have to do it next year. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And he's not going to have a very good offseason as far as the fans. It's just what they're, I can't believe there are people that were actually talking about buying out his contract. That's a joke. This guy is going to have one of the top recruiting classes in the nation, and it takes a while for him to get his players, his team, and but he can make it a lot easier himself if he wins Saturday.
Wrap your head around as many players that did leave in the portal and the injuries. You mentioned the penalties right there, and that is squarely on the coaching staff right there. You can look at that, but what he did not have control over was how many players left off of Nick Saban's team. I say with air quotes.
Yeah,
I think he's done quite a bit. He's done quite a bit already, in my opinion, Wes, that he's not getting enough credit for.
Well, I give him credit. I think he's doing good. I think he's realizing that, and I see it on the sidelines. I think he's realizing, hey, this is a different deal. The Southeastern Conference is a different deal, and you need to bring it. And your players have to bring it, and it's just such a small margin between winning and losing, and he's figuring it out. And he said something after the last game that he thought this team was close, that they were getting better and they were close. We're going to find out Saturday.
In fact, I wrote that down as a question for him tomorrow. What led you to say that, and why do you believe that? Is if I do get called on in the teleconference, that's one question I already have for Kalen DeBoer if I'm worthy enough of talking to the Alabama coach tomorrow. But, yeah, I agree wholeheartedly that was a poignant comment from Coach DeBoer after the Missouri game. And who knows? There may have been a corner. And, of course, this team is getting a touch healthier. We'll find out here in about 30 minutes' time how healthy when the reports come out, as that's when it comes out. Wednesdays at 7 o'clock Central is the first time that we see the injury report released by the Southeastern Conference. So, going into the show, I mentioned I wanted to see where two teams were on this committee, and it was Notre Dame and it was Alabama. Now, the fact that Notre Dame is one step ahead of Alabama, if you're a Bama fan, would at least for me cause a little bit of concern, because resume for resume, to me, it's not.
What are you concerned about?
Well, how much do you really value strength of schedule? How much is that really valued in that room?
Well, one has 2 losses, one has 1.
And I know this is the first poll. I get that.
But what does it matter? I mean, if you make the playoffs, you make the playoffs.
But strength of schedule should matter. Strength of schedule.
Well, I agree, but
should matter.
One of them has 2 losses, one of them has 1. I think if Alabama beats LSU and wins out, they'll be ahead of Notre Dame.
Me personally, I would have had Alabama ahead of Notre Dame right this very second.
Yeah, but I kind of me and Joey Dalloway doesn't agree about a lot, but we agreed about what he said at the beginning.
Yeah,
there's so much football left.
And by the way, Indiana did not get disrespected in this
poll. I wouldn't care if Alabama wasn't in the top,
Yeah.
It doesn't, to me, they went out, they're in, they'll be, in my opinion, more than likely playing at home as well.
Like to get your opinions on what you just heard right there. And if you didn't hear the full 30 minutes there, then I'll run down the top 25 from the college football playoff. They are doing a teleconference here in about 15 minutes, but it felt pretty straightforward, so I'm not going to dial into the teleconference there for the college football playoff. But unless you think I should, Wes, I just, as you've already mentioned a couple of times, it's there is a lot of football left to be played in the month of November.
Let's 33% of the schedule. I'm kind of like, I think Army should have been higher.
How about Vanderbilt not getting ranked?
Yeah, that's surprising as well. But they've Vandy just keeps winning.
Yeah,
and they're probably were one overtime victory from a loss as well, from not being considered, because and that Georgia Southern, that's why they're not in there. That was a bad loss.
Yeah, in Atlanta against Georgia State, and
Georgia State.
They turned it over 3 times. That they finally flipped that switch, but it was a little too late.
Yeah,
but nonetheless, 36-32.
Well, that's what happens when you have 52 players. That's the downside of it, right? They're not used to playing with each other.
Yeah.
So.
We do need to take our first time out. Phone lines open to you. I'd like to get your reaction on the very first college football playoff poll at 256-576-4977. We'll be right back.
You're listening to The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Ann Adams with Berkshire Hathaway Rise Real Estate is the one name to know if you're buying or selling real estate. With years of local experience, Ann Adams offers buyers in-depth knowledge of the local housing market and will narrow available properties down to those you'll be interested in, so you can save time when shopping for your new home. If you're ready to sell, Ann offers a seamless process using accurate pricing and expert negotiation skills to make sure you get a fair price for your home. Call Ann Adams today at 256-337-2625 or log on bhhsriserealestate.com.
Hey folks, Bobby White back again for Woody Anderson Ford. If you're in the market for a new ride, now is the time to make your move. We've got over 700 new Fords to choose from, and with over 2,700 Google reviews, our customers have spoken, giving us a pretty impressive 4.4 out of 5 stars. Believe me, we work hard every day to earn those 5 stars. Just tell us what you need. This month only, we're offering big savings on your favorite Ford models. You can save up to $10,000 off MSRP on a 2024 F-150 Super Crew pickup. Or take $9,500 off MSRP on a 2024 Edge all-wheel drive. And if you're looking for something even bigger, take a spin in our 2024 family-size Expedition, available for $11,000 off MSRP. Deals end November 30th. And with always, it's with your good credit. Stop by Woody Anderson Ford today or visit us online at WoodyAndersonFord.com. With deals this good, you don't want to wait. I'm Bobby White, and we hope to see you soon.
Hi, my name is Dan Aldridge. I'm here to let you know about the Aldridge Law Firm and the soon-to-be-announced Legal Town Center. I've been practicing law in Alabama since 1984, and I also practice in Tennessee. And I'm from North Alabama, and I'm here to represent you and take care of your legal needs. For many of us, hiring an attorney is not high on the priority list and maybe a little scary, but it's something that we all need at some point. So by all means, do your homework. And if you need representation for car accident, wrongful death, medical malpractice, nursing home abuse, or estate planning, or any other matter, just give us a call at 256-534-3188. And you can email me at Dan, that is Dan at danaldridgelaw.com. Dan at danaldridgelaw.com. God bless America.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
At Mr. Sparky, we're America's on-time electrician. Flickering lights and hot switches can be annoying, but they can also signal a major problem, or worse, an electrical emergency. So play it safe and leave it to the experts at Mr. Sparky. Trust our team of professional, clean, and friendly electricians. We'll get it done right and get it done safely.
You don't have to put up with any malarkey. Call 888-8-SPARKY.
Independently owned and operated, licensed in the respective state or county.
Flying nonstop from Huntsville is a breeze on Breeze Airways. They're nice people flying nice people to nice places on really nice planes. Let's be direct. Nonstop from Huntsville to the places you want to go. Las Vegas, Orlando, or Tampa, starting at $49. It's time for a weekend getaway or a long overdue week away. Time to check in using the convenient Breeze app and check out. What are you waiting for? Book today at flybreeze.com. That's flybreeze.com. Breeze Airways. Seriously nice.
Log on today, 977ESPN.com.
I'm alright. Nobody but about me. Why you got to give me a fight? Can't you just let it be?
It is a election day, 2024. The polls are finalized for the college football playoff poll. Right now, Ward Manuel, the athletic director at Michigan, talking to Reese Davis. Reese asked a question that I hope he would ask. In fact, I texted him about this, and he liked the question. So he ran with it.
How will the committee evaluate a team that has to play an extra game but takes another loss and that's right on the cusp? How will that be evaluated? Have you guys talked about that at all?
We haven't talked about it this year yet. We have in the past, in the past couple of years, we've looked at it. And there's been different reasons and different ways that we've looked at it, Reese, as it relates to the outcome in terms of the ranking. We try not to punish, but we also are watching the games. And I think that's important for us as we deliberate to really talk about what we see as we go into it, not just they lost, but how did the game proceed and how was the outcome of the game and how was the performance?
So judgment employed in this case, so how you play in that game, even if you come up short, will weigh heavily. Is that fair to say?
That is fair to say, okay. Yes.
All right. Ward Manuel, thanks a lot for being with us.
I thought that was interesting, at least that part of it, because that wasn't really explained in great detail as soon as this newly expanded playoff, because that was at least what was told to us when it initially expanded out to 4, is that making your conference championship game would not necessarily penalize you because it is that extra game out there. And really, Reese was talking about teams from like 10, 11, 12, the Alabamas, if you will, if they somehow, and by the way, I would have to do so much homework to figure out how, even if Alabama could make it to the SEC championship game. But nonetheless, I think it's a good question to ask, especially someone like Ward Manuel, the athletic director there at Michigan, who's one of the 13 in the room. Anyway.
Well, basically, for sure, Tennessee would have to have 2 more losses in the SEC, and Vanderbilt would have to have 1 more loss for Alabama to even be considered. So I don't think that's likely to happen. Well, I mean, it's likely Vanderbilt loses, but I don't think Tennessee loses 2 more games. But if they did, then Alabama would be right there in the running.
Tennessee has Mississippi State this weekend. I'm going to mark them safe from an L this weekend. And then at Georgia, host UTEP, and then at Vanderbilt. At Vanderbilt. That could be a little saucy right there of Tennessee at Vanderbilt coming up on the 30th.
Well, I mean, it could hurt. I just think Tennessee will have a chance to beat Georgia. But if they don't, I mean, then they're still going to they would have to lose to Vandy and to Georgia.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, what happens? Georgia still has a lot of football to play.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, they playing 2 of the better
Ole
teams.
Miss and Tennessee in back-to-back weekends. That is just.
So if Ole Miss ends up beating Georgia, and what's the line now? I mean, I think Georgia's slightly favored.
You know what? I blew past that earlier in the week when I was looking at the Bama line. I did not take a look at the Georgia Ole Miss line. I would assume Georgia's maybe like a 4-point favorite. Georgia.
I don't think it's that much.
Georgia opened up as a 7-point favorite. They are now a 2.5-point
there's a
road favorite at Ole Miss.
Yeah, I think that I think it's not unreasonable to think Tennessee could beat Georgia because they have a good defense.
Well, they are going up to the big board right now. Let's listen in again. Here is Reese Davis going through Georgia right now.
87%. What does that tell you?
Not only does it drop to 87%, Reese, that will give them the second conference loss in the SEC. I think they value, though, the big win at Texas. So even though they would have their second loss in the conference, they value the win at Texas. The reason that's 87%.
Okay, so let's take this off. And, Greg, you think that Ole Miss is one of the more fascinating teams. This is really a swing precinct for the Rebels, who are ranked 16 by the College Football Playoff Selection Committee. And right now, only a 29% chance to get in.
But if they win out,
what happens then? 74%. And that would also, with 2 conference losses, maybe, depending on what else happens, give them a shot at maybe making the SEC championship
And what would be interesting there, too, is that Ole Miss and Alabama would have the head-to-head against a 2-loss Georgia.
Yes.
So then we start to get, and then you start thinking, hang on, I'm Georgia, I beat Texas, but I might be out of this thing.
Exactly.
It gets real uncomfortable really quick.
Joey, and your dress
and
pants.
Reese, I'm telling you, you'd be more comfortable if you dressed like this. Here's what, but this gets interesting to me with Indiana.
Okay.
As we say, and not just you, Boog, I keep making fun of it.
So I just wanted to point out what they did there. That was the Georgia Ole Miss probability. And even if Ole Miss wins out, according to the All-State Playoff Predictor, that Ole Miss would have a 74% chance of making the college football playoff if they win out. Not just
they're in. I'm telling you, they're in. They'll have beaten Georgia, and they'll be in. There's no question.
Yeah,
they'll be in.
Yeah,
With a 2-loss SEC team this year is in.
There's going to be a lot of 2-loss SEC teams.
I don't think so.
You think this is going to separate out? Right now, your 2-loss teams are LSU, Ole Miss, Alabama. Those are your two lost. I'm sorry, Texas A&M has 2 losses as well. Your one-loss SEC teams are Georgia, Tennessee, and Texas.
Right, and
that's why I think we're going to get multiple
Georgia, Ole Miss, and Tennessee. There's a lot of football left. Yeah, I think that every 2-loss team will be in the playoffs, 100%.
I think we're going to. I think the tiebreaker is going to get a workout heading into Atlanta.
Well,
I don't mean
we're not talking about the SEC. We're talking about the playoffs. The playoffs. Every 2-loss team in the Southeastern Conference will make the playoffs. You know, Texas A&M has 2 losses already.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, but I'm talking about the playoffs.
Yeah. Okay. So if there's more than 4 teams that have those losses, that's not going to happen.
Do what now?
If there are more than 4 2-loss teams.
Yeah, but there's not going to be, Steve, because they're all playing each other.
Yeah.
Somebody has to win the game.
So Georgia loses to Ole Miss. That makes them both a 2-loss team.
Right.
And Tennessee plays Georgia.
Right.
You're right. That would cancel out that if Tennessee beats Mississippi State this weekend. Texas, that's a 1-loss team right now. Alabama, if they were to win out, that would be a 2-loss team. Ole Miss would be a 2-loss team. LSU, I see what you're saying, because they're also playing Texas A&M as well. That's going to cancel that out. So we're looking at maybe 3 2-loss teams. Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it just depends. You know, right now you would think Texas and Georgia are, to me, are the 2 teams that we favor, but there's not much between them. And if Ole Miss were to beat Georgia, Georgia's in big trouble.
Yeah. I mean, you kind of heard it there from McElroy, but he's absolutely right, especially because that common opponent is very important as well between Alabama and Ole Miss with Georgia, and that could be the undoing of the Dogs for the 2nd consecutive year not making the playoff. So we shall see. We shall see. Yeah, there's
so much football left.
Yeah.
It's all just.
Yeah. Right now, all of this feels like I'm trying to figure out string theory. It's there is a lot to unwind.
Well, what would be, if Georgia goes ahead and beats Ole Miss, and Ole Miss is gone.
Yep.
And so it's not but it could get crazy if Ole Miss beats Georgia. It's going to get crazy. But if Texas A&M were to beat Texas, then it can even get crazier.
How likely do you think that is? Ole Miss beating Georgia?
Well, I mean, I think it's very possible. So does Vegas. Thinks it's very possible.
Lane Kiffin was asked if Kentucky gave everybody a blueprint on how to beat the Dogs.
Well, I think when Kentucky's healthy and motivated on defense, they can play great defense, which they've shown. Georgia game, our game. They got a premier player, number 0, that destroys game plans. So I just think they did a really good job against them, and they were healthy. Like they were against us. They just haven't been lately. So
that'd be a no, that Kentucky did not give a blueprint on how to beat the Dogs. But I would say defense for defense, Ole Miss's defense is better than Kentucky's defense, especially along the front. And the good news for Georgia.
Hold on. I don't agree with that. When Kentucky's healthy, Kentucky had one of the best defensive lines I've ever seen, but they're not healthy. I don't think Ole Miss is all that healthy at defensive line right now either. They're all banged up. They're just playing. So it's going to be – this is a good game. To me, it comes down to which quarterback plays the best.
Dart was pretty darn accurate there in Arkansas.
But he's not playing Arkansas.
I get that. Yep.
He's playing Georgia. So this is going to be a good game that's going to come down to a field goal. I mean, that's what Vegas says. And who's the better quarterback?
Kirby
Who's the
was
better defense. I would lean both to Georgia when they're playing good.
Mm-hmm.
But if he throws interceptions in this game, and if Georgia turns the ball over in this game, they're going to lose.
Kirby was asked, I don't know if this is a fair question or not, but I'll let you listen to what Kirby had to say on comparing this Ole Miss offense to the 2019 LSU offense.
Different offense. I think very different offense in terms of that, but certainly talent's there. I mean, they've got several draft pick receivers that are good players, got good tight ends. They got a really good scheme. I think this LSU had the same thing, but different scheme. Those two were not the exact same. LSU could go a whole game without trying to run the ball. Ole Miss will run the ball. They commit to the run, and they create shots and RPOs off of their run game. That wasn't really the LSU MO.
That is Kirby Smart on that question.
But to me, is Trey Harris playing? And if Trey Harris is playing with the way the other receiver, he's showed promise all year. It seems like him and the quarterback on the same page. Trey Harris, to me, is the best receiver in the country. He was the leading receiver when he got hurt. He didn't play the second half of the LSU game. I think they win easily if he does. He caught a touchdown the first half. They had him double covered, hold him, everything in the world. He still caught it. He is a difference maker. And if he's healthy, if he plays and he's healthy, that's how Ole Miss wins this game.
Let's go ahead and take our final timeout. I'll give you the full top 25 poll from the College Football Playoff Committee on the other side. This is The Drive. We'll be right back.
You're listening to The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
If hunting and outdoor recreation are your passions, it all starts with the right property. That's where I come in. I am Bo Butler with Southland Realty and Auction, a hunting and recreational land specialist and a Jackson County native who sees land through a hunter's eyes. Just as you trust your guide on a big game hunt, you can trust me to find the perfect property for you. Thinking of selling? Let me help you make your land attract buyers. Remember, Bo knows land. Call me at 256-609-0512.
Mark and Henry McDaniel, attorneys at law, are proud alumni of Madison Academy, and Madison Academy is proud of them. They have served our community through their practice, through volunteerism and service on national, state, and local boards. They explain the complexity of critical court rulings on local media. Their successful practice has been built on integrity. Both are veterans of MA Athletics and proud sponsors of Mustang football. McDaniel and McDaniel, attorneys at law. No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by the lawyer.
Tom Luganbill here for my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship team, they all work together to make sure your experience is second to none, whether you drive a Ford or not. Also, check out the gold certified pre-owned inventory at Woody Anderson Ford for great deals every day. Stop by and see them at Jordan and Sparkman or at Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, or visit WoodyAndersonFord.com.
It's an amazing time in our industry. Things are changing so rapidly. With digital signatures and workflow software, we help our customers work from anywhere. This helps you save time and money and upgrade your technology. Like I said, it's an amazing time to watch our customers grow and succeed.
Just ask anyone. A Lion secret.
By now, you know about Eagle Masonry and Insulation, and maybe you know that Eagle also does landscaping and dirt work. But how about after paint work? Shower doors, shelving, and mirrors, all taken care of by Eagle, the same Eagle that takes care of all your masonry, insulation, and landscaping needs. Eagle brings the same level of expertise to all these disciplines, and they're ready to provide you with a free quote. The website is the same, insulatewitheagle.com, as is the phone number, 256-755-1556. Give them a call and see what Eagle can do for you. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money.
Specializing in simple and affordable rentals, McCurry Van and Car Rental can make sure you have just the right vehicle for your next family vacation, weekend getaway, or if you just need transportation while your vehicle is being repaired. McCurry carries Ford Transit vans and Mercedes Sprinter vans, trucks and work vans, and more. And they offer discounted rental rates for long-term rentals. Now with 4 locations: Athens, Muscle Shoals, Coleman, and Huntsville. Log on McCurryRentals.com to make your reservation now. That's McCurryRentals.com.
Are you tired of power outages disrupting your life? It's time for a Generac standby generator from Current Electrical. Storms may rage outside, but inside your family's powered up. So why choose Current Electrical for your generator needs? 1, we offer a wide range of models to suit every budgeted energy requirement. 2, our project managers handle every step of the process: power, gas, permitting, and inspections. 3, our certified technicians install your generator with precision, ensuring peace of mind. Don't wait for the next blackout. Call 256-880-1880 or visit us online at GenSuperstore.com.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. A partly sunny to mostly cloudy sky this afternoon. A couple of isolated showers certainly can't be ruled out across the Tennessee Valley, but it does appear the vast majority of us are going to be dry. We are once again going to be on the warmer end of the spectrum. Temperatures climbing into the mid and upper 70s, only dropping into the mid 60s as we head into the overnight. Once again, a partly sunny to mostly cloudy sky Wednesday afternoon. Slightly better opportunity for rain, but otherwise it is once again going to be warm across the area. Temperatures climbing into the upper 70s and lower 80s. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Listen to the Woody Anderson Ford Scoreboard Show, powered by Lake Gunnersville Ace Hardware. Each Friday night with Scott Tyson on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Well, this may be it for today, but don't worry, we will be back tomorrow. In fact, I'll be live over at Baumhauer's Victory Grill, even though this is it for this particular program. The program is about to conclude on ESPN television. They're about to do a segment on SEC playoff chances, so we may listen in there for a second while we wind down. Your full top 25 poll looks like this from the College Football Playoff Committee. Oregon 1, Ohio State 2, Georgia 3, Miami 4, Texas is 5, Penn State, Tennessee, Indiana, BYU, and Notre Dame round out your top 10. Alabama checks in at number 11. Boise State is 12, SMU 13, Texas A&M 14, LSU 15, Ole Miss is 16. Then it's Iowa State, Pittsburgh, Kansas State, Colorado, Washington State, and that is by far the one team that only has one loss that has the biggest hurdle in front of them, the fact that they're in a Pac-2 conference. Louisville 22, Clemson 23, Missouri 24, and the Army Black Knights check in at number 25. That is the full rundown there for the very first college football playoff poll. I did reach out to Bill Hancock, and Bill was kind enough to text back. He is the former executive director of the college football playoff poll, and he texted me back saying, thanks for checking in. It does feel weird not being in the Big D today, but it was also felt weird when I left the NCAA basketball tournament. Hope you're all doing well. Be sure and give Wes my best. So.
Still waiting on my call. Last.
I thought you may enjoy
Who
that.
has time to do that now? Yeah. I just get hate mail.
Just the fun of it, right?
I know it.
But anyway, I thought you might get a kick out of that from Bill Hancock. But in terms of playoff teams, Just in this poll, there was 4 SEC teams that I went through. And, of course, those teams have the best shot of making the college football playoff. And I think even everything's in front of Ole Miss that we've kind of chronicled. I don't know about Missouri. I would say Missouri is the one team on this poll that I'd have to take a closer look at Missouri's schedule and see whether or not they could play themselves into – gosh, I don't see right now Missouri having an opportunity at making the playoff. What do you think?
Missouri, no. They're going to lose more games without their quarterback.
Yeah. So. Here is I think they're about to go into the SEC report, if you will.
For the return trips he made as head coach of the Crimson Tide. And then that will be the primetime game on ABC Saturday night. Alabama and LSU both backed into a corner, as our Goodyear road test will show you. Alabama has had the better of the series against LSU, but home games at night under Brian Kelly, the Bayou Bengals have been perfect, including an overtime victory 2 years ago against the Crimson Tide. So this is, LSU could still theoretically work its way into the SEC championship game, but it feels like an elimination game for the playoffs.
No doubt about it. And hopefully the LSU defense has figured out how to tackle the zone read, because against A&M, they had no clue. And you know that Alabama's going to run it with Jalen Muro. And for an offense that's been led by Garrett Nussmeier, can he figure out what color jersey the Tigers are wearing?
That's fantastic. That's fantastic, Booger. Oh, I'm so glad I played that. That is fantastic.
Oh, God.
Well, maybe that ought to be a question that I lob to Brian Kelly tomorrow morning. What color are the jerseys? I'm joking. I'm joking. Oh, goodness gracious. Well, been a lot of fun. Really appreciate Bill Bender for hopping in with us. We will talk to you tomorrow right here on The Drive. Good night, everybody.
WZZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. Your home of the Crimson Tide Sports Network.
Cowbells and swamp, the ag is wrong. There's nothing like the SEC. The weekend's full of surprises, from Williams Brice to Death Valley. On the Fine Bomb Show, Paul's on the road.